Video games suck, but they used to be really cool is something you've probably heard someone say before, or maybe you've said it yourself. Either way, when someone says something like this, they're normally referring back to a golden era of gaming that they personally connect most with. While the N64 was my first ever video game console, the golden era that shaped my early childhood was the era of the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. It was edgy, it was weird. There were skateboards everywhere. Shadow the Hedgehog rode motorcycles and shot people. It was awesome. Then, as I got a little older, I was introduced to the next era of gaming that would shape the rest of my childhood and become my second golden era. It was Christmas morning of 06 when I got a Nintendo Wii and Madden 07. It was the era of weird motion controls and Xbox Live. It was during this era where Big Booty Judy revealed to me without my knowing that I was gay and that he did my mom.
So yeah, you're gay.
I've played video games my whole life, but these will always be my golden eras. But maybe for you, if you're a senior citizen, then your golden era was...
This is Odyssey, the new electronic game simulator.
It all started with the Magnavox Odyssey in 1972, the first home video game console. And it was quickly followed up by a bunch of copycat consoles that all did the same exact thing. Pong, 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 Pong. Or poop. If you didn't like Pong, dude, you were fucking screwed. The marketing for the original Odyssey is so funny. Turns your TV into an electronic playground with 12 unique games included. The whole time all you do is tape some shit to your TV and boom, new game. Fuck, man, I'm getting kind of bored. You got any other games?
Oh yeah, bro, I got you, don't worry.
Cool.
And there we go.
This is my favorite game.
Dude, me too, hell yeah.
There's more action than even Spider-Man can handle.
The next era of video games was an eventful one. Video games were making billions, and then a year later, they were being buried in landfills and covered by cement. Atari was so dramatic, man. The second era of video games started in 1976 with the Fairchild Channel F, which introduced individual game cartridges for the first time ever. So nice. This was followed up by the Atari 2600, the Odyssey 2, the Intellivision, the ColecoVision, Circumcision. This generation was mostly dominated by the Atari 2600 and all of its ports of popular arcade games at the time, like Frogger, Centipede, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, you know, all the classics. Now I've played most of these games, but the arcade version. I like those, and so do most people. But the big issue here is you finally get to play Pac-Man at home, and it looks freaking ugly. Now everyone's mad because it's marketed like this, and it looks like this. Plus there are 500 different consoles on the market. Everyone's confused. Is this even a real game? Why is Johnson & Johnson making video games about toothpaste? I bought dog food at the grocery store, and now they're mailing me a video game.
Atari never got the message. What happened virtually overnight, more than 6,000 people lost their jobs. The company collapsed.
So video games were sucking hard until Nintendo came along and was like, nah, I'ma do my own thing. Setting off the 8-bit era and making video games cool again. So Sega made a console and Atari started digging up all the games from the cement. I was never alive during this era, but I did grow up in an era surrounded by 80s nostalgia, so I do have some connection to it. Dude, how many times am I gonna say era in this video? I attribute a lot of the retro gaming love I have to this guy right here, the angry video game nerd. This man was like my second dad. They actually really are. They actually are really similar. They both yelled fuck a lot. Even though AVGN normally played the worst NES games possible, it intrigued me enough to want to go back and actually play the good NES games. So I did. And the original Legend of Zelda was easily my favorite. It was the first Zelda game I ever fully beat. I played it on the Wii's Virtual Console, and I haven't touched it since. But it was the type of game I only needed to play once, and that experience has stuck with me forever. I honestly don't want to play it again, because it sucks. No, it was just a very meaningful experience for me, and I don't want anything to ruin that. And the NES was full of gems like this. You want to golf? Oh, you want to shoot some hoops? Hoops. You like pirates? Me too.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Columns free. What Nintendo?
It all used to be so simple. Every new era was like, hey, look, we got a bunch of bits. I don't even know what a bit is. They took everything everyone loved about the last generation and doubled that shit. If you like two-dimensional games, you're in the right place, guy. My favorite game from this era was Star Fox. Why do they look kind of hard? Why does the controls menu thing make me want to cry? If you don't know the history, this was the height of the console wars between the Sega Genesis led by Sonic and the Super Nintendo led by Mario. A decade later, they'd kiss. I have the second SNES model and literally just Star Fox, no other game. But I grew up playing so many amazing SNES and Genesis games on the Virtual Console and other weird places. I bought this thing. Pretty sick. This will be the last era before the 3D revolution, and the entire time Atari was in the background cooking some shit up, ready to pounce on the industry like a jaguar.
Now is the perfect time to make a comeback. We've been on the sidelines just studying the game, you know? 3D, let's
dog.
go Atari.
That's literally a fucking toilet.
Hey, plumber boy, mustache man, your worst nightmare has arrived.
Oh my god, we're actually in an era I was partially alive for. Atari tried, Sega tried to be stupid, but everyone knows this era was about the new
Sony PlayStation
and the Nintendo 64. Y'all sucked on pacifiers? I sucked on the N64 joystick. I didn't have a PlayStation because I was a newborn and my parents chose Nintendo, but I'm glad they did because the N64 was awesome. One of my earliest memories on this earth is of Mario's floating head on the startup screen for Mario 64. Mario is faded, but yeah, this era introduced 3D to the world. People used to be flat. I love this era so much. The graphics were like borderline terrifying and the boobs were so pointy, but it has this unique charm to it, this aesthetic that was born as a product of its time. And I think that's really cool. You know what else was cool? The games. Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Majora's Mask, Pokemon Snap, Mario 64, Star Fox 64, Kirby 64, Excitebike 64, Armageddon 64, Clay Fighter 63 and a third, Clay Thompson 60 points and 11 dribbles, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and all the PlayStation games, which I couldn't play, which I'm sure were also really cool. I played Twisted Metal at a friend's house once. The marketing and branding for the original PlayStation was so different and weird. I love looking back on it. Like, dude, it makes me want to go to a Kmart and buy a PS1 right now. Damn. Also, I'm pretty sure this era introduced those gaming kiosk things, like the ones that would be at a McDonald's or a Walmart and you'd leave with like permanent neck damage. So all in all, I'd say it was a pretty good time, but a lot of my experiences playing this generation's games came later on in my childhood when I'd go to my grandma's house and play the N64 that I'd keep there, because at my house, I was on the Cube.
For saving the galaxy, there's no power greater than X.
This next era is something else. I really do love all four of these consoles very deeply. And I've never even played a fucking Dreamcast. Everyone forgets this console. And dude, I didn't even mention it at the beginning of the video when I was talking about this era. And it's not because I think it's garbage. It's because it was discontinued before I could wipe my own butt. But it really did have some goated games like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Jet Set Radio, Phantasy Star Online, Crazy Taxi. And the name, Sega Dreamcast, that's the coolest thing ever. Released in 1999, it was Sega's final console and the first console to actually have online play, which is a big deal. So let's all give this chunky ass controller a big kiss. I used to go so hard for Nintendo growing up, so I kind of hated the PS2 when I was little. I was mad that this stupid DVD player that didn't even have that many awesome games was getting all the love, while my stupid lunchbox was getting no affection from anyone whatsoever. But I'm not that kid anymore, so I can appreciate the PS2 now. And I did have some good memories with the PS2 as a kid. I remember playing this weird fantasy game at my friend's house where I was a humanoid tiger. For my whole life, I did not know what this game was. but I actually found it for this video. It's called Champions of Norath: Return to Arms.
Okay.
But for me, this generation's best console was and will always be the Nintendo GameCube. You know how big your balls have to be to put a handle on a console? So big. The GameCube had the best controller, the best startup sound, the best handle, and the best games. Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, Rogue Squadron, Resident Evil 4, Disney Extreme Skate Adventure. I told you skateboards were everywhere, you just didn't want to believe me. And my favorite GameCube game of all time, Star Fox Adventure. I don't know why I like Star Fox this much either. Then there was the Xbox, and unlike the PS2, I didn't hate it because my cousin had one, and I thought he was the coolest motherfucker, dude. My parents wouldn't let me play M-rated games, so I snuck into my cousin's room literally just to watch him play Halo 2. And my dad was pissed because the Xbox was for men and I was a boy. But I knew one day when I was a man, like my cousin, who was probably like 11, that I too have an Xbox. I've been going back and playing games that I missed from this era, and it's been so validating to see how well these games hold up and just how influential this era was. GTA San Andreas showed how much potential an open world could have. Kingdom Hearts showed what a crossover game could be and how to dress. Super Smash Bros. Melee brought people together and is literally one of the greatest fighting games of all time. And Halo made FPS games the genre. The branding and marketing was full of that early 2000s edginess. And honestly, it still works for me. There was so much more personality with each console and everyone was taking more risks with games. They made a 50-cent video game. What the hell, dude? The graphics were getting good enough to where weird old people thought violent games would fuck kids up mentally. It did. It was my golden era, but I'd also have a second golden era.
How long have you guys been standing there?
Look good in some new armor. Pre-order Halo Reach and get multi-thread armor.
It all started for me with the Wii. I could not escape the Wii. I went to school, there's a Wii. I went to the dentist, Wii. Went to my uncle's house, Wii. Went to the bathroom, Wii. Went to sleep, Wii.
Dad, I peed my bed.
The Wii wasn't HD like the other new consoles, but did the other consoles have music this hard? So I loved it immediately. I'd stand up and shake that thing all day, playing Wii Sports, Mario Galaxy, Lego Star Wars, Mario Kart Wii. My brother smashed the fuck out of our TV playing Mario Kart with the plastic wheel. This era was the era of multiplayer. Whether that meant playing Lego Star Wars on the Wii with my brother, finally getting a PS3 and playing Castle Crashers with my brother, or getting a 360 and playing on Xbox Live with a 35-year-old dad of 4. Also, because of the Wii, there were so many gimmicks and everyone thought motion controls were up next. Thanks for making us all listen to Kinect mics for no reason, Xbox. Nothing like an entire lobby hearing a dad yell at their son for forgetting to feed the dogs.
From now on.
I was gonna feed them. I met so many online friends in this era, and I miss them. Getting that notification that your East Coast friend got on to play COD Zombies or Minecraft with you was like top 5 feelings ever. Then a few years later, seeing Last On 3 years ago, that was like top 1 worst. I had all 3 consoles by the end of this era, and I think they all offered something really special, but the 360 was just on another level. Even as the Nintendo fanboy that I still was, it could not stop my addiction to Xbox Live. Black Ops 2 is my favorite game of all time. Sorry, Star Fox. And it's just the memories from my childhood of playing every day, meeting people and connecting with people that you'd probably just walk by without even acknowledging in real life. I think there's a beauty in that. And that's why this era meant so much to me.
Fucking suck a fucking fat cock.
That and also just the Wii. Then the Wii U got announced and it was time for the next generation.
Xbox, go to Titanfall. This is insane. Check this out.
I bought a Wii U day 1 after starving myself in Europe to save money. That's a real story. I still loved Nintendo. I played all the first party games, but in reality, I had become a man like 6-year-old me knew I one day would. I was Xbox. I got an Xbox One. This era was an extension of the last one, but with more open worlds, Fortnite, and microtransactions. And the current gen is pretty much just an extension of that. So we here. Video games are still fun. They don't suck, but they did used to be really cool. And it's good to acknowledge that and remember what made past eras so great. I could talk about modern gaming and what I love or hate about it, but honestly, I just wanted to talk about how we got here and how cool it was to experience so many of these eras. And like, yeah, they don't make games like they did in 2004, but as long as I can still plug in my GameCube and play some Star Fox Adventures, then it might be all right. Plus, you know, we don't have to tape things to our TV anymore, which is awesome. And guys, that's the video. I'll try not to take 7 months for the next video, okay? I know I didn't talk about PC gaming or handheld stuff, but maybe I'll make a video about that stuff in the future, who knows? I love video games. I'm sure you guys do too. Let me know what your favorite era was, what your favorite video game was, and love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.
I see it.